This is Kathy Chase. The Led Zeppelin, the blimp is the Hindenburg, not the Goodyear blimp. Goodyear family went to school with some of them, although Charles Goodyear vulcanized rubber, developed the vulcanization of rubber in 1839. I don't know if they're distantly related, but I do know there is a Goodyear plant here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Goodyear has the foot on the blimp. The plant address is 4021 North 56th. It's been there for a long time. Also, with the Goodyear blimp, go flying over football fields, of course. The state motto has always been Nebraska, the good life. So extremely relevant. Charles Goodyear, as I said, was his name. 1839, vulcanization of rubber for tires. Charlie Starkweather was a serial killer that was from Nebraska and killed a bunch of people here in the 50s. Starkweather. Here in Lincoln, Nebraska, he killed a few people, and this was during the 50s. The Connection. Charlie Tuna, Chicken of the Sea. There's a mermaid on there. Chicken of the Sea, a can of tuna. Then you've got Charlie Brown, who wears a wavy shirt. Ray Charles. He is blind and plays the organ. And as I said, I think the lady at Lee and Jan, Oz and Jan's, I might get their names a little bit mixed up. Oz and Jan's Lee's Restaurant. There was a lady there for many years who could not see, and she would play the organ. The other Ray would be Rich and Ray Farley. When I talked about Farley Candies, Rich Farley, I don't know if it's still open, owns the Hurricane, or did own the Hurricane bar downtown just recently, and it's all in psychedelic colors. As I said, the Farley family is related to Obama. Hurricane, as in caning people's shoulders, and it's in psychedelic. It's kind of it's been online. The Hurricane. As I said, I went to the Zeman School on 52nd and Gertie, and then down the street is Christian Records, 444 on the corner of Linden and 52nd, which is Christian Records is for the blind. Zebra and Zebras. It has a BRA as in bra. Nebraska has the BRA as in bra. And Abraham Lincoln has the bra in the name. They took D Street, which is where First Plymouth Church is on, 1100 block, which intersects with Whitehead Oil. Phillips 66 has been around since the 50s. And then it goes down about a block and a half down to First Plymouth Church. Then there is, as I said, I went to Zeman Zebras. Mr. Webb was the principal. Mrs. Stamper worked in the media center, I believe, and then other teachers and faculty there. Mr. O was the gym teacher. Then as far as Pound Junior High goes, it is between Gertie, G-R-T-I-E, T-I-E, you got the tie, Gertie, and LaSalle, L-A-S-S-A, or L-A-S-A-L-L-E streets. In between is Ginny, G-I-N-N-Y, and Pound School is very relevant. Pound symbol is the same symbol as a tic-tac-toe. Pound, it means like as in punching or fisting, or like using your fist to punch somebody. And then a pound or a fist is A in sign language, A Street, and then pound as in sign for numbers, means number, and numbers used to plan what's happened to me. The streets, as I talked about, around Southeast, Scott, 39th, in between major streets of 33rd and 40th. Southeast is in between there on 37th, and the surrounding streets, Pawnee, making me a pawn for their, little music game. And then Oto goes right into Southeast, Scott, and so forth. Then USA Africa, Toto in Africa. USA Africa Feed the World was not about me. It was about starving food of people in Africa. Africa, Toto, the song, Toto, I presume from Wizard of Oz, Yellow Brick Road. I talked about Korea, Seoul, Yellow Sea, coordinates, matching addresses, matching county numbers here in Nebraska. Jim Morrison played at the Whiskey. Doors did Break On Through the Other Side, and other songs in which were written before I was born. Jim Beam, Headlights, Vehicle Grills, and Fire Grills. 1968 music and movies is what they used. I'm not sure when Pound Junior High was built, but I know it was built before I was born. It's an older school. And then their little numbers. I talked about Vehicle Grills, Fire Grills, and then you have the deer whistle on, of course, Vehicle Grills. And then Laverne from Penny Marshall from Laverne. They worked at Schatz Brewery. They were bottlers, of course. Laverne used to wear the L on her. She had a monogram. They always had monogram clothes. Well, we had monogram sweaters when we were little. My father had monogram handkerchiefs. We always bought them for Christmas. My mom dated Vern Jensen, but Vern Jensen's not my father. And of course, there's Jensen tires. And as I mentioned, there's Goodyear products, and then there's Jensen. And then Vern Jules did the old book from and it's like 100 years old, Around the World in 80 Days. And as I said, I've been covered their little plot and their little plan. And Jules is on part of pyramid schemes. As I said, Vern Jensen, and then Laverne, Penny Marshall, and then of course, the monogram sweaters have nothing to do with me having a pacemaker and trying to corner me with a trick, as in Trick or Treat. I'm not the prostitute and fishing PHISHING, and then diversion theft, and then the laws under the title, under 18, the laws about criminal, laws about murder. 1111, 41 is about murder. We used to know, I think Todd Munyon grew up somewhere around Beckner, around by us. My sister knew him. But I remember, this is relevant, and I don't like to talk about people or bring up people, but it's relevant. Todd Munyon, Munion. I remember my sister telling me he was colorblind, and he had a hard time seeing streetlights. I remember her saying something about him only being able to see red. So I had to mention his name because I think it's relevant to the whole what happened to me. Center Park, where Vern worked, 14th and Center Park, where the penitentiary is, where they have actually executed, I think Starkweather was executed there. That's where the electric chair sits. Pacemaker, I'm not supposed to have one. That is not considered the electric chair. In 1955 with music chairs, I didn't want to be anybody's music game. And then 1955 is the Double Die Penny. Of course I wasn't around or alive in 1955. Pink Floyd, well, Floyd the Barber from, I don't know if it came from Floyd the Barber on Andy Griffith with Don Knotts. And then you've got Knott's Berry Farm. And then Daniel and Don Parks live next to us in Quail Ridge Circle, next to Quail Valley Apartments. And her father was Phil. Their father was Phil Parks. He worked for Miss Lee's Chevrolet. And then his wife was named Carolyn, and that's my middle name. And he worked for Miss Lee's before they changed to Husker Auto. My Aunt Jo, my Aunt Jolene worked for them, or still does. And she's the one where, she's the person who I got the Joe from in my name. And then, you know, Don Knotts did various things, Scooby-Doo and so forth. His voice was on there, and the Ghost of Mr. Chicken, and then I also talked about Hitchcock being on the corner where Antelope is, which is close to the closest part to the courthouse. The courthouse intersects, if you go from the east to the west side of, on the east side of the courthouse is Lincoln Mall Road, and it goes directly down the center of the courthouse. On the other side, one side it's H, I believe, and then the other is, I can't remember if it's J or K. I think it's K, HK, on the opposite side, and so forth. You know, as I said, it was built in 1968. The main part on the 10th Street one was built in 1968. I don't know when the original courthouse was built. On O Street, it's 920 is the address, 920. They still use it for other government services. But it's on the numbers on the building is 920, and it's very old. It's about 100 years old or so. Has nothing to do with me. Once again, none of this stuff has anything to do with me. Tires around the world in 80 days. Interstate 80 goes through Nebraska, and major roads going north-south is 48th and 84th, and they've always been there. And all these other businesses have been there. And as I said, it's, if you go around Lincoln, you can see all the evidence, and you can see how people plan things. As I said, my maiden name, Eggers, E-G-G-E-R-S, does not mean I'm like a General Electric, because E-G, example, means example. They wanted to use me for their ulterior motives, obviously. And E-G, forwards and backwards, General Electric initials. I'm General Electric, of course, I don't know, 1901. Same year Walgreens came around, 1901. And then if you take the first two, if you take the EG off the top, and then, or if you take the E off the top of Eggers, and then put N-I as an N backwards, you get the derogatory term niggers. And I don't appreciate that, because I know that was thought about with their thinking. We are a white family, and of course the name Eggers is totally German. I talked about it being a leap year, and licking toads and acid and psychedelic rock, and the people want to play psycho with Shower Street in Cheney, Nebraska, which has been there for 100 years, with their knives and pacemakers. Just because I had a turtleneck shirt on, and they say I'm slow because they want to joke around about the no Child Left Behind Act, I guess because of no-nonsense pantyhose or something. I have no idea, but I think that's sick. I also talked about Rob working with Cleo Miller, and then the Cleo, like Cleo, the lady who got in trouble for fraudulent ESP practices. I believe something similar to the technology in my body. But as I said, if government doesn't want to work with me, as far as presidents are concerned, then I would say, and they're going to say it's not technology in my body, then I guess I have the right to leave the country because they can't entrap me to kill me here because I don't kill people, and I'm not on trial for murder, and I'm not qualified for the electric chair, and you cannot use music and musical chairs in 1955 to say, and then my maiden name, Eggers, to say I'm some sort of electric because you wanted to use trickery and treat. Smell my feet, give me something good to eat. So, pretty sick, some of the stuff that went into this, but it's obvious. Pound School, Pound Junior High, it's Pound Middle School now, and Pound sign is on your keyboard, of course, and then it's also the tic-tac-toe symbol, very important, and then mistletoe and spin the bottle, and this little piggy went to the market. Well, I'm not going for the slaughter, excuse me. I'm not a pig, I'm a human being. And I'm not an egg, and I'm not a chicken, even though I'm scared of you people because you're crazy. Obviously, to plan such weird stuff. The term weight upon the world on my shoulder is just a phrase, and basically that's what they've done to my life and done to me, and they want to blame me for it, and then turning my world upside down with mom, calling me mom, like I'm supposed to be somebody's mom other than to my 3 kids, and WOW pacemakers, and WOWT, and Omaha television, and KETV Channel 7 in Omaha, with Jim Flowers and so forth. Jim Flowers. Jim Flowers has worked for the Omaha television station ever since I can remember. So, has nothing to do with me. Jimi Hendrix, Susan Hendrix, spelled a little differently, lived across the street in Quail Ridge Circle. Jim Morrison has nothing to do with me, and Jimmy Page has nothing to do with me, and the Lincoln Journal-Star has nothing to do with me. Lincoln Journal-Star was around before I was born. It's owned by Lee Enterprises. And that concludes what I have to say for now. My name is Kathy Chase. I live in Lincoln, Nebraska.